Feels kind of funny with nowhere to go at the end of the season, at the last rodeo. My old rodeo truck ain't been cleaned out all year. It smells like old leather, tobacco and beer. But after a tune-up, she'll be raring to go and chase them wild horses to the last rodeo.
But the difference between a farrier and a blacksmith, we are basically farriers. We trained to shoe horses, make shoes, shape shoes, work with the horses and the horses' hooves, whereas a blacksmith more works generally in metal, repairing and making anything that in metal work. There's still quite a few farriers and blacksmiths in Barbados working at this time. There are not as many blacksmiths as there used to be. You might more find welding shops and things to heat the metals. But the actual farriers, there are probably still about 10 or 11 of them on the island. Myth that people think that farriers no longer exist. I think that's because no one really sees the work that goes on behind. A lot of people see horses as they play polo, race or jump or whatever, but they don't realise what goes on to get them to that point, including the shoeing of the horses. Well, shoeing horses has been around for years, hundreds of years. I guess the first guys that invented it were very clever to realise that a metal plate and some nails could be nailed onto the bottom of the foot to keep a horse not only sound but to give it grip and support. And also to think that the original shoes and the nails were made by the blacksmiths. Pick the horse leg up. Get her nice and comfortable so she doesn't give you any trouble. Clear off any debris or manure that's on the hoof, so you can see exactly where to trim the hoof. This is the hoof nippers. Preparing the hoof down to the right length. Then we take the farrier's rasp, brush him up, get it nice and level, so that one side is no higher than the other. You don't want the horse looking in or out. Back here. Okay, this area here you can see in white is actually called the white line. That's the area of separation between the sensitive and the insensitive lamina in the hoof, and everything outside of that line is the horn, which is like your fingernails, which grows from the coronary band here, and it grows down. Nails have to be put outside of this white line. Anything inside of this white line is sensitive and therefore will bring blood or cause an abscess if the nail is put wrong. Now you get your shoe, try to make sure it's the right shape to the horse's hoof. Clear off any excess tags on the frog. Get the shoe to the right shape. Make sure it's fitting the horse properly. If not, stall jack. That's for bending the heel. See, it's coming closer there to the shape of the horse foot. This one needs to come in a little bit more. Open it up a little bit. Open the heel slightly. Trying to get a perfect fit. Always make sure the shoe now is level, so it sits flat on the horse's hoof. You don't want one end sticking up. The nail is a flat nail made out of a soft Swedish steel, beveled to the inside so that the nail turns as it goes through to come out through the hoof wall.
If not, the horse will get pricked. About 28 years now. I did a course in 1979, so it's quite a while now. Coming up 29 years. The nail comes through the side, and then there's the long pieces removed. The same on the inside. Then we take what's called a clinching block. This is to tighten the nails in place, tighten the shoe on. I lost that years ago. No, you have to watch for it, but most people that do this type of work around horses all their life anyhow, so they know how to deal with horses basically, you know. Well, they're more likely to be kicked with the back legs, fillies especially. Colts you have to watch because they're inclined to paw you with the front end as well. They like to go up in the air, like to bite, they like to hit you with the front feet. Fillies are much more likely to kick you. The truth is, shoeing like this, it is not as likely to get kicked because you're very, very close. You can usually feel the movement of the horse, and if this horse is going to kick me now, it would drag back first and then kick. So if it drags, then I'll either hold on very tight or move out the way very fast.
I will let it kick in.
With most of the conventional shoes, whether it be racing plates or iron shoes or polo shoes, it's the same. But there's different installation when it comes to using different types of shoes, like natural balance. That's a square toe shoe where the hoof is prepared completely different. But basically all the rest are conventional shoeing, which the hoof is prepared the same way. And there's also glue-on shoeing, which is slightly different instead of using any nails at all. There are several types of shoes we use. We use a simple iron shoe for pleasure horses, riding horses. Polo horses, we use a shoe with more of a grip. Racing now we use an aluminum racing plate because of the lightness of it and also has grip. They probably would be changed more regularly than the iron shoes on the horse because they wear out a lot faster and the people want a lot more grip while the horse actually goes out to race.
I think that the technology over the last 10 years has been phenomenal when it comes to horse shoeing. The development of all kind of orthopedic shoes, glue-on shoes, everything now is completely different. The angles and the care of the horse hoof. I think there's been a real revolution in shoeing over the last, say, 10 to 15 years. Well, I don't think it will change a lot from what it is now. I think that obviously as time goes on, different people come up with different ideas that work out good or better for specific problems. Well, recently there are a lot of new alloys and metals and also plastics and nylons that are used now to make shoes. So for horses that have problems maybe with metal shoes and need some kind of rubber or plastic, synthetic materials are being used as well to make shoes. Yes, we're using an aluminum 3-degree egg bar shoe. It is for horses with problems. It's designed primarily for navicular disease, which is the damage to the bone in the bottom of the hoof where the tendons run through. This shoe is a navicular egg bar shoe for problems with the navicular bone down behind here. It has 2 rocker bars to keep the weight forward onto the toes and lift the weight off of the navicular bone. Every now and again, it may not just be navicular, it may be some other kind of injury that requires some support behind the heel further back, and we use that egg bar for support for way behind the heel. I don't think people realize, but most horses can be dealt with psychologically rather than rough. They react better to nice treatment than they do to rough treatment. And I find, like, especially with the shoeing of the horses, I find that if you handle them correctly, they give you very little trouble. They can be useful at times, man. Okay, now we're gonna clench again and finish up this one. To finish up now, we'll use a rasp to brush the hoof and a hoof clenchers to turn the nails down in place. Bring the foot forward instead of back now, up in front here. Give yourself room to work on it. Slightly shorten the clenches and make a little groove underneath them so that the clench will sit flat against the horse's hoof. And we take the hoof clenchers. And turn the nail in place. This is called clinching the horse. I'll stop the shoe from coming back off. We normally shoe the horses, depends on what sport they're in. If it's polo, usually every about 4 weeks. Race horses could be more often, depending on how often they're actually racing and if their shoes are worn out and they need fresh shoes to race in again. And like brood mares and riding horses, maybe every 6 weeks. Well, we learn the profession in a couple of ways. Either by working apprenticeship with someone who has done it before, or you can go overseas to different colleges, study there. And also the English still have the apprentice system where you work with a qualified farrier for a few years before you become qualified to do the job. There are people in Barbados every now and again that do take up the profession. It's not an easy profession, so you won't really find a lot of people doing it unless they're really accustomed to horses. But you would mostly find fellows who are doing it, maybe their sons or guys who work with them that learn along with them and take up the profession. When a new shoe goes on a horse, basically they should feel just as comfortable as they did before. You're going to trim the foot back to where it should be correctly, and once the shoe is fitted right and the foot is trimmed right, the horse should be very comfortable in it. Okay, in trimming the foot, there are a couple of guidelines you have to go by. You need the foot nice and level. Both heels land on the ground at the same time. Therefore, if there's height to one side or the other, you need to trim to suit to bring that horse level that the two heels land on the ground at the same time. The other guideline is you want basically the angle of the hoof and the angle of the pastern should run at around the same angle. Therefore, the foot has to be trimmed in such a way that you're lining these bones and the bone through the hoof into a straight line at that same angle. If there's too much toe, then some has to be taken off to bring it back. If the horse is too flat, you need to try and get the heels up a bit so to bring the angle correct with the angle of his pastern bone. Take off any flares that are sticking out to the front. And there we have the finished product.